Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bristol Township Council. It's a shame we don't have a camera facing out because it's like a class reunion here with the officers. And I have to tell you, it gives me goosebumps. It's really good to see the retired officers coming out. It's really good to see everybody. It's actually an honor. Yeah, it's a lot of energy. It's a shame, like I said, the cameras can't go the other way. Pete, it's good to see you. It's good to see everybody. Bob Lebo, the names, it's just really good. So this is official Township Council meeting for February 17th, 2022, starting time 7:05. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Moment of silence, of course, for all of officers, our military personnel overseas, and of course the ones that didn't make it and our emergency services who protect us. Thank you, everybody. What a great day. It feels like winter's over almost, huh? So, and it's great to see everybody, our officers and our retired officers. It's just a pleasure. We need roll call.
President Bowen.
Here.
Vice President Murphy.
Present.
Ms. Dunlap.
Present.
Mr. Antonello.
Here.
Mr. Blaylock.
Here.
Mr. Glasson.
Here.
Mrs. Wagner.
Present.
Monthly reports are available for review in the Township Manager's office. Public comments will be taken on land development and official action items. General comments will be taken during opportunity for residents to address council. Before the meeting, we met in executive session. Mr. Flegger.
Mr. President, Council, before this meeting, we had executive session. We discussed real estate matters, personnel matters, labor negotiations, and litigation matters.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation of Joan Hackbart, recognition of 50 years of service.
Hello,
Good
Council.
evening, Lieutenant Johnson.
Good evening.
Great to see you.
It's great to be here and have a lot of our retired guys here and our present officers to honor Joan Hackbart tonight. It's not often in today's world you have the opportunity to recognize someone celebrating 50 years of working for the same company. It's quite an accomplishment, and we would be remiss not to show our appreciation to such a faithful and dedicated employee. Tomorrow, February 18th, 2022, Police Records Administrator Joan Hackbart will start her 51st year working in the Records Office of the Bristol Township Police Department. Her level of organizational knowledge and police administrative knowledge is simply irreplaceable. Let me just try to describe what Joan has accomplished. For the last 50 years, she has managed the paperwork of between 70 to 95 sworn and civilian police department employees at a time, each day. Our department handles approximately 45,000 radio calls per year. Close to 30,000 of these calls are recorded either in writing or digitally, and many become investigating files, each containing quite a collection of standard forms and forms specific to a type of investigations. Each of these forms contains scores of boxes recording all kinds of historical, biographical, and criminal descriptors. Each of them has to be checked for completeness, correctness, competence, and coordination between department divisions, other local agencies, county agencies, state agencies, and federal agencies, and laws governing their release. The amount of information coming in and going out is simply staggering. Each day, Joan brings calm, considerate capability to the chaos and ensures all reports are completed correctly and competently. Each day, she keeps a mental list of what's missing from each file for each employee, and when she sees them, she softly, kindly, and considerately reminds them what is missing from their reports or files so they don't get in trouble within or without the department. The fact that she can keep this all in her head is simply incredible. Joan ensures that everything that gets reported from the local to the federal level is tediously accurate, complete, and correct. She has done this all while sitting quietly in the corner of the same office for the last 50 years. You hardly know she's there, but her excellence at what she does screams the loudest to mark her accomplishment. So we're here tonight to show our appreciation to Joan for her 50 years of service to our community, our agency, and our employees, and we wish her many more healthy years to come. Thank you. Huh? Yeah.
Unbelievable. I just can't imagine the love she presents. When I retire from here,
Johnny, nice, Johnny. Johnny, the Bristol Township PBA would also like to thank you for your years of dedication to helping us out, keeping our case files organized and everything like that. So these are from the PBA.
Grab the bottom of that, Tim. So it doesn't fall out. It's wet.
Thank you, everyone.
So where's the after party at? It's got to be somewhere. Thank you. All right, we're going to move along here. That was an awesome experience. Next, we have a public hearing and ordinances. We have an ordinance. Thank you, everybody. We have an ordinance amending the Code of Township of Bristol, amending sections 205-120A 50, 205-120A 52, and 205-128 66 concerning the parking requirements for manufacturing, wholesale businesses, wholesale storage, warehousing, and medical marijuana grower processor uses. Consideration to take action. This is a public hearing. We'll be turning it over to the solicitor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Scott Holder with Flagrant Associates. Just as some preliminary housekeeping matters as we go through this, tonight's public hearing was advertised in the Bucks County Courier-Times on February 3rd and February 10th. A copy of that ordinance, tonight's draft ordinance, proposed ordinance, was sent to the Bucks County Courier-Times as well. This ordinance was sent to both the Bristol Township and Bucks County Planning Commissions on January 14th, 2022. Both have reviewed and provided responses to council for their consideration. This ordinance was also filed with the Bucks County, proposed ordinance, I should say, excuse me, was filed with the Bucks County Law Library on, I have it written down, so why don't I just look, February 3rd, 2022, and they confirmed receipt on February 7th, 2022 as well. We have, just to give council a little bit background, Judy Stern-Goldstein with Gilmore and Associates to provide a little background on how we came to the numbers we came to.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear me.
Welcome.
Thank you. So your current parking ordinance is complicated because it has a component based on the number of employees for these uses. And it's difficult from a code enforcement standpoint.
Judy, 1 second. Give your full position for with Gilmore
Oh, I'm
Associates.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Just so we have it, you know.
I'm Senior Project Manager with Gilmore and Associates. I'm a planner and a landscape architect, and I have over 37 years of experience in municipal planning. Thank you. Was that enough? Yep. Okay. So I was asked to look at your parking standard for specifically industrial uses, and then it was the ordinance wrapped in manufacturing and growing processing of marijuana also. But specifically with the industrial, as most of your uses are right now, the parking requirements are complicated because they have a component that is based on the number of employees on the site. As a planner, we've realized over the years that that doesn't necessarily work. Granted, most of the municipalities in this region, specifically in Bucks County, do have a component based on the number of employees because they're all based on the Bucks County Planning Commission model ordinance from the mid-1980s. In the mid-1980s, those of us who were around at the time remember that it was a very car-centric time. The concept of people walking, taking public transportation was really on the wane. Everything was about driving your car to your individual places you needed to go and coming home. Current planning standards and current standards and trends in industrial development show that actually with increased automation in the individual buildings, increased efficiencies due to that automation really yields less employees, yields less of a need to have paved areas surrounding these buildings. And also, planning concepts now recognize that we need to write ordinances that are enforceable. If they're not enforceable, why have them? If the ordinance really is all based on the number of employees, that would imply that if developer A built a building and had the minimum required parking based on the number of employees that he stated at the time of his approval, and then his company flourished and he had more employees, the code enforcement officer is supposed to know that he has more employees and then require to have more building of parking after the fact. It just doesn't make sense. We're in a community where economic development, redevelopment, adaptive reuse of existing buildings, either vacant or underutilized, is really important. And I think it's important that your ordinance match the goals and objectives that you as council are setting forth. So we did some research, and this is not a new concept to us. We've worked with a few municipalities in the Lehigh Valley very recently to look at their warehousing parking needs and warehousing ordinances. And 1 per 2,000 square feet seems rational, and it's being set as a minimum. We have to remember that parking standards and ordinances are minimum required standards. Applicants, developers, property owners can always build more than the minimum, but by requiring a minimum that's fair and equitable and enforceable, we're doing a few things. We're making it fair, equitable, enforceable. We're also requiring then less paved surfaces, less impervious surface. We're giving opportunities for land to be reclaimed as green. It would help with stormwater management, would help with flood control. It meets DEP standards. It meets the Bucks County Planning Commission standards for being green and sustainable. It helps you get closer to ready for 100. There are a lot of things that happen. We're also decreasing the heat island effect because it's less paving. More green, there's more opportunity to plant shade trees, deal with stormwater management on the surface, a multitude of reasons. In addition, in the surrounding area, for instance, Lower Southampton has an even less of a parking requirement. They have 1 per 3,000 square feet, 1 space per 3,000 square feet for industrial. So I'm just letting you know how we got there. It wasn't just one random number. It was looking at the goals and objectives of the township, looking at green and sustainable practices, and looking at a minimum required parking as opposed to a maximum. Or, as we would like to say, parking for the 100-year event. We don't need to do that. You're welcome.
Just before you say, does any of council have any questions for?
No, in my mind, no questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kurt or Samantha, is there anything either of you have to add at this time?
I think that was an excellent summary, Judy, thank you. The one comment I'd like to add in addition, having worked for the township for a number of years, we've seen a lot of applications come through, and we've actually seen applications in the past that have come before us. They've been great projects, and they've sought variances from parking. They've received variances from parking. They've opened up their businesses, and just by reviewing those projects, going back on Google Maps and looking at an aerial view of the current properties, you can see that none of those properties have maxed out parking areas. And some of those projects have gotten even greater variances for less parking spaces than what's being proposed as a minimum tonight.
Yeah, at this time we can open up to public comment.
There it is. Can you hear me now? Awesome. Thank you. My name's Dan Lyons. I'm an attorney with Fox Rothschild, and my office has a client and a property owner in Bristol Township who is concerned about the proposed amendment. I believe the council has received a correspondence from my colleague Andrew Stoll earlier today, with a letter and two reports from traffic engineers and traffic planners echoing the same concerns, which are that it simply would not provide enough parking for the uses that are proposed, which would then cause parking in the streets or other locations off-site. And those reports are also accompanied by a review letter from the Bucks County Planning Commission reviewing this ordinance amendment, echoing those same concerns. So I'm here this evening just to bring those to the attention of the council and request that those reports and the review letter from the Planning Commission is made part of the record here this evening, and I please ask that it's considered by the council in review of the ordinance amendment. So short and sweet.
So your client's located At what area, just roughly?
The address is 6401 Airport Road in Bristol.
So there's probably, that's the Greek in that area. So there's probably 150 businesses over there?
I believe it's.
Or maybe
yeah,
200? Is anybody, my question, any other business concerned with this change in ordinance that you know of? Or is it just your client?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you.
And just to follow up, yes, council was provided with the correspondence, they were provided with the letters, and we'll absolutely consider it part of the record. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Good evening. I'm Ed Murphy. I've spent most of my adult life being tormented by Judy, Kurt, at meetings all over the county where I'm always arguing with them about what they want me to do, right? They're going to look really good tonight. It pains me to say that, but completely unrehearsed. About a month, 6 weeks ago, I came down here to meet with the staff, with Randy, Kurt, all the other consultants, to talk about an expansion project for a client of ours on Morton Road. It's called, right, Genesis Manufacturing, a couple allied businesses, worldwide medical and bioplast manufacturing, all together. They've owned the properties for almost 10 years. They have a 68,000 square foot existing warehouse today, and they want to expand by 29,000 square feet. They do a lot of injection molding for component pieces of COVID tests. So their business has really exploded, and they have no more room. So at the end of the expansion process, they'd have almost 100,000 square feet there. So when I showed up for the informal sketch review, the staff is waiving this ordinance in front of me, saying, because I was bitching about the fact that the ordinance requires me to have 197 parking spaces for that site. 197, right? We have 40 employees, right? With the expansion, we may get another 10. So we were going to have to apply for a variance. We were going to ask the staff to cooperate and not make us install all the additional parking spaces that would have been required. Because of the additional spaces, we were going to have to ask for a variance of impervious surface to go from your maximum allowance of 65 up to almost 80%. And I was coming down here all aggravated, ready to argue with everybody about having to go through all this extra work for no good reason, because we don't need that many spaces. So before I even got started, they stole my thunder and said, what about this ordinance? You know about this ordinance? I did not know. I'll take credit in front of the client for saying, well, what a great thing, but we did not know the ordinance was pending. And
your apologies accepted.
yeah, I get it, I know. None of this will be recorded, and don't play it back. But in the real world, real life, we took the ordinance and applied it to the numbers that I just reported to you. And at the end of the day, your new ordinance, if you adopt it, would require us to have 49 parking spaces when we were done with the expansion. We're going to provide on the new plan, if your ordinance is adopted, 54 spaces. But we stay within your impervious limit. We don't have to seek a variance to go beyond 65%. And as Judy said, a lot less need for stormwater management, more opportunity for green space and all the other types of amenities you'd want to see. So in real life terms, forget about planning and all that stuff. As applied to this particular application, it's right size. The ordinance works for us. It matches what we need. It matches our future employee count, and it relieves a lot of cost, burden, and time on the applicant to do it. And it's another employer that wants to stay in Bristol Township. I've been here many nights promoting that as well. So here we are again, and this would be a real opportunity to make a difference in this particular application. So I'm just here just to tell you that it works as applied. So in real life, it's a good thing.
Do you feel, I'm going to ask a question, because you brought a lot of land development in over the years.
Right.
A change of this ordinance was probably 40, 50 years ago. there's a change in the dynamics, because if you look at Burlington, there's massive warehouses, like as far as you can see, and they just have a little parking spot. So there's things that have changed in the last 40,
And
actually
again-
the last 10 years.
And
with-
to Judy's credit, I mean, she's right. I go up a lot to the Lehigh Valley area, and we're
Right.
involved in a lot of significantly sized projects where a lot of them reflects warehouse and that. And Judy's exactly right. The parking standards need to be revised. They've needed to be revised here for a long time. It's good that you're finally getting around to doing it, but,
There's a lot of things.
well, but it's a good thing. And, but yes, we're seeing, and Judy's right, we see the trend all over the area, including Lehigh Valley, to try to better align today's parking requirements with today's employee needs, so that you guys continue to be attractive to new businesses to come to town to do it. So I'm not here to take sides. I know there's other issues, but for us, as applied to this property, it would be a real-life test that works.
And I noticed over the years, there was always waivers for parking.
Yeah.
You know, just another bureaucracy to hold up, to slow things down.
Okay,
thank you.
thanks for the opportunity.
All right, is there anyone else from the public who has any comments on the proposed ordinance? Okay, then with not seeing any more public comment, Mr. President, you can close the public hearing.
Okay, meeting is closed, and now we, what's that?
Hearing is closed.
The hearing, the meeting is closed, yep. Not yet. The hearing is closed. Listen, there's always something I gotta screw up, all right? Okay. All right, the hearing is closed, and now we need to vote on this.
If council so chooses, yes, it is.
I'd like to make the motion to approve this ordinance change.
We have a motion by Patrick Antonello,
I'll second that.
second by Cindy Murphy on the motion. Is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have consent agenda on the, sir? 7-0. Next, we have consent agenda. Consider approval of voucher list and requisition dated February 17, 2022, in the amount of $5,416,709.29. Consider approval of January 2022 council meeting minutes. Consider resolution for reserved handicap parking area for 5473 Fleet Wing Drive, Levittown 19057. We have a motion. All right, who's first on that motion? Mary Ann Wagner,
And I'll second it.
second by Marcia Dunlap. On the motion, is there any questions on that consent agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a report from Township Manager, Miss Randy Elton.
Thank you, President Bowen. I will be brief, but we do have a couple of updates. We have a lot of construction, building projects, and projects going into proposals for architectural details. First is our wastewater treatment plant and our expansion. Happy to say over the last couple of months, probably about 6 months, we've been hydraulically in compliance, as well as over the last year, we've been biologically in compliance. We'll be submitting our Chapter 94 report, which was required every year annually by DEP by March 31st. We are probably 80% completion of a new sanitary sewer service area map, which DEP has been asking for probably the last, is asking for probably for the last 2 decades. So that's exciting. Government geek like me, that's exciting. But I do know that DEP will be very excited as well. It's also an interactive GIS mapping that will be able to work with the consulting firm that runs our treatment plant. Be very informative to be able to update it for all our new asset management as well. So with the treatment plant, restarted actual work in January 2022. All of the E&S measures have been installed. The temporary water service was installed, the decontamination trucking water has been installed, and the effluent pipe has started progress of being installed. As we all know, we have 0 EDUs for development. We have a running total of 127 EDUs for development, seeking EDUs at this time. We are asking all development to submit their requests to DEP for their planning modules so that we can continue on with the running total for requests for EDUs. We are confident with all of our I&I work that we've been doing over the last 6 months that after we submit and have the Chapter 94 report reviewed, we'll be able to request for an additional development total EDUs even before that the treatment plan is upgraded because the I&I work has produced a dramatic amount of inflow reduction. So we're pretty satisfied with that. A couple other projects that we're working on, as we've talked about before, a lot has changed in our process when we first thought that we were going to be building a community center and the demolition of the former Inspire building. So we're now going to be renovating the, and I know we've talked about this a couple different times with the cost of construction increasing. We're now thinking of renovating the community center, putting on a small prefabbed addition, and now creating a prefabbed building for the Park and Rec building next to the community center, or next to the senior center, and actually renovating the fire station and putting on a prefab building addition to that for the fire engines and all their equipment. So that is in the process of getting the architecturals and the engineering done for that. We are still in the talks with Newportville Fire Company and 3rd District about going together into the building with our career fire department, and that is still that is going out into I guess rumors are going out into the public world about mergers and what's going on, and right now it's all being talked about. We're all starting to gather into the same room, and so once public releases are ready and we know exactly what's happening with timelines and cost, we'll get that out to everybody. But I just wanted to give some brief updates so that everybody knew what was going on. Thank you.
Thank you. It was very informative. Thank you.
And concise.
Is that anything else you want to add? Oh, I don't know. Just asking to make sure before I move on.
He's just being thoughtful.
I guess you're done? Okay, just making sure.
He wasn't ready for you. Exactly.
Gerard was sleeping, so I took a picture. Next on the agenda. Listen, we got to have fun here. We don't get paid for this. Thank you.
Council.
Report from Township Solicitor.
Good evening, Manager. Later on the agenda, there's several tax assessment appeals. Usually when we have these, we're losing money, but usually when we have tax assessment appeals, we're losing money. But tonight, the properties are being reassessed higher. If we approve this, the township will end up with about $100,000 in back taxes and about between $2,000 and $4,000 per year in extra revenue. And well, just to wish Randy, I want to be the first to wish her a happy birthday later this month. That's all.
Thank you for reminding me.
Only 11 days to buy her presents, Greg.
Moving right along, we have new business. Any other new business? No? Okay, good. Next on the agenda, application of Ideal Trans LLC, 1498 Clydeway Drive, Bristol, requesting preliminary and final land development approval in order to construct a trucking terminal on the property located on Clydeway Drive, lots 5 and 6, tax parcel number 5-61-421-005 and 006, and an M1 light manufacturing zone district.
Good evening again. I'm still Ed Murphy. Yeah.
Okay.
Last summer, we met again with staff to present the project that is in front of you this evening. It's a sketch back last summer. As I think everybody knows, this is the last undeveloped portion piece on Clydeway Drive. The client is interested in building a new trucking terminal facility. We've been through all the reviews, been to your zoning hearing board, been to your planning commission, all good. And we have, as a courtesy, I received a draft of the approval resolution prepared by your solicitor. We have no issues with any of the review comments or conditions in it. So we're here tonight to, as I told you when I saw you most recently, to seek final approval for the project. And yeah, on the screen you can see the outline of the land development, the building in the upper center of the site, and parking throughout, and the green area along the perimeter, both in the front and in the back. So it's a pretty unremarkable plan, but another business. Now, Frank Nabata is the owner, and he already has a presence in the township, and this is another example of an existing businessman that wants to expand his presence in the township. So, again, another good story. So,
Mr. Murphy, your client's prepared to sign the agreement as we've negotiated?
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Council action is in order.
So it's a pretty simple plan. I don't
Right.
have any comments on it.
I'm good. I remember looking at this before.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
So we need a
I'll make
motion.
that motion.
Motion by Patrick Antonello, second by Joe Glasson on the motion. Is there any questions to move this project forward? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you for investing in Bristol Township. Looking forward to bring you for the next addition to the Keystone Park.
Good. Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you soon.
Next, we have, we already discussed this. This is about actually getting more in taxes. Consider supplemental resolution for PSIP Phyllis Drive LLC property situated. Oh, this is something different. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Consider supplemental resolution for PSIP Phyllis Drive LLC property situated at 220 Anthony Circle Drive, requesting of a waiver of SALDO 177-41. Point S to allow the pavement sections to be in accordance with the recommendations from geological study instead of the standard township details. Consideration, take appropriate action. So we're definitely need township engineer to explain this one.
This is the project at the dead end of Phyllis off of River Road. It was two parcels that were left from the original development. This is when we had to dedicate the street, when they had to do some extra improvements. You may remember the application, but in spite of them needing a variance for parking and getting a reduction down close to where our ordinance threshold was set, they still have now come back as a new buyer is prepared to begin construction, and they have said that the cost for the paving of their parking areas is quite expensive. It's a lot of parking areas. So every quarter-inch of asphalt makes a big financial difference. So what they decided to do was do a geotechnical study, which is to measure the strength of the soil underneath the parking, and they can run calculations to show that they can actually reduce how much blacktop they'll put down while still gaining the amount of support needed for their heavy truckloads. So they provided that geotechnical report. We've reviewed it. Our geotechnical guys are in agreement with their conclusions. And this is just amending their approval to add an additional waiver to not meet our township standard, but to allow a reduced pavement section, which we take no issue with.
And that's the next one too? That's this item B and C?
You're right, there's, yeah.
Okay.
So short story, Kurt, if you could, yeah.
Okay.
This is
Right.
the 10-acre one.
Strong enough to support the trucks without going heavy on the blacktop and the binder.
So
That's
can
it.
you, maybe not get too technical, but what are we gonna
Joe just said it.
hold on,
You're
what?
not listening.
Yeah, but what are they gonna put down? That's what I wanna ask them. What is it? Instead of 8-inch of binder, they're gonna put 4-inch of binder and then 2 inches of top?
I don't know. Do you remember what they're...
Be nice to know for the record.
How about just saying in accordance with the geotechnical study that was
All
provided?
right, we'll let it go.
Would that
All
be
right.
okay?
Okay, no problem.
Instead of the geological.
Yeah, geotechnical.
Wait a minute.
Geo-
What are they going to park on there?
It's tractor trailer, it's a warehouse.
So it's
facility.
tractor trailers?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yes, no, and their geotechnical
Yeah, I got you.
study, it was done to support trucks. I mean, it wasn't done to support passenger vehicles. Their purpose, their study was to show that it can support.
So,
I know, there's never been a mistake on an engineering study.
so what you're saying is my paper road, since the asphalt's coming apart, I guess it doesn't meet that standard because it moves
Probably.
when a big oil truck comes on.
And
All right.
they'll be required to have third-party
Okay, good. All
testing
right.
agencies out there monitoring the
All
soils
right.
before they.
Thank you. All right, we need a motion to move that forward.
I'll make that motion,
We have a motion by Joe Glassen.
I'll second.
Second by Ray? Hi, Ray. Good to see you.
Ray, nice.
Second by Ray Blaylock on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. So this is same situation. It's a lot across the street, or maybe, yeah, it's across the street from this. Consider supplemental resolution for PSIP Phyllis Drive LLC, property situated at Phyllis Drive consisting of 3 lots, reference as tax parcel number 05-052-096-003 and 05-052-096-004 and 05-052-096-005, requesting a waiver of SAUDO 1770-41.S to allow the pavement section to be in accordance with the recommendation for the geotechnical study instead of the standard township details. So it's the same thing. They got plenty of solid ground there. They can eliminate some of the things they need. We have a motion by Cindy Murphy,
I'll second it, Chris.
second by Joe Glassen on the motion. Is there any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You have a question?
I have the answer right here, actually. Samantha,
So
would
I
you like to,
understand that parking lot will be sitting directly upon a tectonic plate.
Do you know what this spec is? So there's 2 different areas. You don't want to know? Come on, now I'm feeling nerdy. I want to give an answer. I want to put my engineering hat on for a second. Happy birthday.
All right, we're moving along here. Consider Human Services Co-Responder Initiative with the police departments of Bristol Borough, Bristol Township, Tullytown Borough, and the County of Bucks Human Service Division. Ms. Selton, you can explain this one, please.
Yes. Thank you, President Bowen.
You're welcome.
So we have discussed this informally for a couple of months, and our police department has been discussing it with the county for last several months. The county has had a co-responders program with Ben Salem starting back in December of 2020, and they recently have had started a co-responders program with Middletown and Falls Township. And they have engaged the township and Bristol Borough and Tullytown Borough to start a co-responders program. What this entails are 2, Ben Salem has 2 responders in their township. Falls and Middletown have 2 responders, 1 in each township. And we would be unique where we would be hosting, a co-responder is a social worker. So we would be the hosting of where they would have offices in Bristol Township, since we are larger than both Bristol Borough and Tullytown. So they would be dispatching out of the township, which Chief Colton and Lieutenant Johnson offered that to both Tullytown and to Bristol Borough. We would be offering the cars that they would be, we have cars, not brand new cars. We have cars in our fleet that they'd be using, but everything else is a grant from the county. So it's everything else. They're county employees, And so salary, fringe benefits, everything, radios, computers, everything is paid for by the county by this grant for 2 years. It has benefited in Ben Salem over the time that it's had. It's been about a year. They have 6-month evaluations, which I have forwarded over to the board and the solicitor for a review. And it has benefited, and right now it is benefiting Falls and Middletown. Our lieutenant has reached out to Ben Salem and has talked to their lieutenant and has nothing but good things to say about the program. It will help. The thought and the process is to alleviate the social type of work that is bogging down our police department, our officers, and that would be able to, our officers would still be going to the calls and calls of service, but then they would be giving the referrals to the social workers, who then would be going out. So it's not like the social workers are going out and to the calls. The officers are still going to the calls. They're securing the scene, making sure everything is safe. They're coming back to headquarters, and then they're referring it to a social worker. So, and then that social worker then will make the trip to the place, to the residence or the business, and see then what they can do on a social working nature of business. Or if somebody needs to be transported to the hospital that is not on a police matter duty, it might be a mental health issue, rather than a police officer having to then be taken out of call duty on the route or in their sector. The social worker would then, because we all know that sometimes they could be held at a hospital if there's large volumes, or they could be held there for hours. This would be a social workers, and so then the officer is then allowed to go out onto back onto the route and do I'm trying not to make it sound like do officer work and social worker work and making them be different tours of duty, but they are. Yeah.
My understanding is, though, that it will alleviate a lot, including the paperwork for the officer, because that social worker will then take over the reporting duties that would also bog down our officers.
Right.
And keeping them on the street for the important, quote,
Right.
police work.
Right. I'm trying to articulate it better than I am, but yes.
I got it.
But yes.
It's a great program.
So I think it'll benefit the township. We're a very big township. We have a lot of, yes, we would have
Two?
Mm-hmm. Just, yes, and see where it goes. And it's a unique situation because Ben Salem is one township, 2 co-responders. Falls and Middletown are 2 townships sharing 2 co-responders. Ours is a unique situation of, big township sharing with 2 boroughs. Everyone's in a unique situation. You just got to play it out, see how it goes, and after 2 years, the grant program is over.
Right, we have
There's no saying that we can't then apply for a grant. There's no, we'll see how it goes. But I recommend, and the chief recommends, lieutenant recommends that we go forward with this program. The borough approved this last month, Bristol Borough, and Tullytown will be having it on their agenda for approval for next month.
I feel strongly about this program that will be a boon and a benefit to Bristol Township and its residents. And it's no harm, no foul for us from a budget standpoint or the taxpayers. So for me, it's a win-win-win across the board. So I heartily endorse it.
So we need a motion to move that
I'll
forward.
make that motion.
We have a motion by Patrick Antonou, second by Mary Ann Wagner on the motion. Is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Well, I know that you are leaving, sir. Oh, okay. Because I know I don't remember his name, but I know. Okay. I know you're, I'm sorry, I know you're with the outreach program, correct? No. Oh. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were with the outreach program, sorry.
Well, thank you, Randy.
I-
Thanks for your outreach.
I don't blame you for being hesitant to admit that.
All right, we're just having a ball of fun here. We're going to move along to the,
Mr. President?
I thought he was.
yes, sir.
Can I make a suggestion that we approve E, F, and G as one motion for the tax? We have 3 tax assessment appeal settlements for various properties, which, yes, please. Yes, please.
So tax assessment appeal settlement stipulation For E is 5200 New Falls Road LLC, Walgreens, tax parcel number 05-032-042. We have one for assessment appeal stipulation for 5 Point Retail Property LP, known as CVS, tax parcel number 05-034-002. And the last one is G, tax assessment appeal stipulation for 8500 New Falls Road, Walgreens, tax parcel number 05-046-179. We need a motion for that. We have a motion by Marion Wagner,
I'll second.
second by Marcia Dunlap. On the motion, is there any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a consider resolution setting forth Township 2022 fee schedule for various permits and inspections and fees.
Thank you. Well, I did not realize the undertaking of this task, but it is 90% done. Everything is complete. I just want to go over it with department heads, but it is ready for approval. This primarily is just putting all the fees together in one resolution, all the fees that we have in various locations throughout all different ordinances and all different resolutions that most municipalities already have. So there are minor changes. One is for, and we've talked about this many times, demolition permit. Our demolition permit was exuberant, especially for commercial. And our roofing permit as well. They were very exuberant costs. So we put them, looked at Middletown and Falls and put them more in line with what they are. And the roofing permit is only not for shingles anymore. We used to require them if you're just re-shingling your roof. Now it's only if you're doing a structural integrity of the roof, you require a roofing permit. Yeah, correct. And we're just making it what it should be. And we're keeping them all the same. Nothing changed other than those two. We are increasing the fines. What we found out when we had modified some of the fines, we had said that no parking for trailers, recreational vehicles on the street. The fine was still $25.
Ooh.
That is laughable and is not. It's not a deterrent, correct? So we're increasing those fines to for residential. We're increasing those fines to for $150, and for commercial, we're increasing to $1,000. That is for the commercial, because we're having issues where it's posted. I think it was $25, but where it was posted for not only for idling, but for tractor trailers, sitting on the streets that were not supposed to be there. So, I wanted to increase it to $250. I didn't know if you guys would be okay for that for residential, because it's because again, it's for the snowstorms, and I mean we're getting hammered. So I mean I want the cars off the street. So and $250,
I'm okay with that.
Okay with 250.
Well, then we will increase it to $250 because you're voting on it tonight. This will be residential. This is what we need to do. We need,
It's all in one place.
because it's not a
Great.
deterrent.
Good job putting that
Alright.
together.
But this is just step one, because it was a good practice in me knowing what our fees are, because I did not know what they were, and we will be working with all the department heads.
Fine tune it.
Very much so. There's a lot of them that are out of that are not the way that they should. If you will look at the first page, though, I did put on there the first page for administration and finance, so that everybody understands what our millages are. It's not just fees. I wanted everybody to understand what our millages are, and to see what all of our earned income tax, local services tax, our real estate transfer tax. I don't think everybody understands, and it was a learning experience for me. For mercantile tax, all of our taxes are split with the school district. That nothing comes to us solely and wholly. Sorry, but nothing comes to us all by itself.
Yeah.
All of our taxes are split with the school district. So, you know, I just wanted everybody to understand that, you know, we try, you know, we get more revenue when we bring more business in, but it doesn't always just come to us, right? You know, solely. So, you know, we're going to keep trying.
I thought it was just real estate tax. You know, 80% goes to school. These taxes stay here. How about that?
Even the earned income tax, local services. Yeah,
Most of them, yes.
most of them, yep.
Alrighty, well, I'll make that motion to,
Well, we move that forward. We got a motion by Sidney Murphy, second by Mariana Wagner on that setting for the township fee schedule. Is there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, well, moving along, we're almost done here. Any other business? Is there any other business? Business. Nope, nope. Okay, comments from council members? I just want to make a comment. I know it's beautiful out, 60 degrees, but a few weeks ago we had a snowstorm. I just want to, I read a lot of comments, you know, township workers are lazy or whatever. Let me tell you something. They laid it on the line. They laid their guts out trying to get that snow covered up off the streets. They did everything could. They had problems with the snow, and our subcontractors worked hard. It was a very difficult snowstorm. But don't get me wrong, we look at every time we have a situation, snow plow, how can we do it better? And I'm telling you, the team behind us, the management team, is looking to always improve services. So just want to put that out there. And that's it for me.
all right.
All right.
Shockingly, I got
Next, we
nothing.
have an opportunity for residents to address council. We don't have nobody on the agenda, so we're going to have the meeting closed, but I see some people, if you want to, we'll close the meeting, and you want to come up and you got anything on the issues, I see some people in the audience, we'll be here. So on that, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make that motion.
All in favor? Aye. All right, everybody have a great weekend coming up, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.